Part 1, Part 2. Part 3, Amy Sullivan is 27 when she comes and sees me for the first time. Her face is quite gaunt, pale despite the start of the winter season, and her eyes are dark, drawn pinched together. There's a lifelessness to her. Hair, once a vibrant brunette, has turned to a darker shade, almost blacker. Flat and long it shapes her face, making her cheekbones more prominent. Her size less than ideal, in weight for her height. Her eyes show very little of emotion, and her hands stay at her sides. Mostly, she looks outside the small window in my office in the clinic, watching the snow as it continues to fall, not letting up as October leaves us and November takes its place. In fact, it grows harsher, more piled upon piles. Soon, the small snowplow for town will have trouble keeping up, and the highway leading out of here will no longer be cleared. The only way out will be by small place or helicopter. And even then, the constant storms and near to complete darkness that descends on us rapidly will make it an impossible task. Hi, Ms. Moore. It's nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Cotts, of course, and I'll be taking over your care until the spring, I explain politely, calm. She barely acknowledges me, her voice monotone, answering back. Mrs. Sullivan, she corrects. Mrs. Sullivan, of course. I apologize, your records still have your maiden name listed. She doesn't say anything else, her eyes drifting to the window, to the snow falling. I want to make more small talk, get her more comfortable with me, building a rapport, if nothing else. It's easier for patients to open up with some more common ground established first, or more ice broken, but she seems unable or unwilling to do so. I nod and reach for my tape recorder. But taped session. Amy Sullivan with Dr. Cotts 1. Dr. Cotts. This is Dr. Cotts conducting session. Redacted. With patient. Redacted. Amy Sullivan. Mrs. Sullivan, do you consent to the recording of this session for my own personal use as your psychiatrist? Mrs. Sullivan. Yes. Dr. Cotts. I've read over Dr. Redacted case notes and your diagnosis of atypical psychosis, despite the organic source that was your pregnancy. He doesn't mention why this is, so I'm going to ask you a few questions about that, all right? Mrs. Sullivan. Yes. Dr. Cotts. The symptoms, the delusions, the hallucinations you've experienced started after you gave birth, correct? Mrs. Sullivan. Yes. Dr. Cotts. You hadn't experienced anything like that before the birth. Mrs. Sullivan. It's possible that I had certain dreams, but everyone in Saltpine has dreams. I spoke to Reverend Martin about them. He said it was normal, nothing I need to concern myself with. Dr. Cotts. You talked to Reverend Martin about your dreams? All of them? Mrs. Sullivan. Everyone told. Everyone told Reverend Martin about their dreams. Dr. Cotts. I see. Can you tell me? Mrs. Sullivan. Can I? Dr. Cotts. Of course, that's why I'm here, to help you understand your own mind better, to help you heal and get better. I'm here to treat you. Mrs. Sullivan. I appreciate that, Dr. Cotts. It's only been a week or two, but it's so lonely. My dreams before I became pregnant were about getting lost in the forest. They felt so real, and then I'd wake up and my feet would be dirty. Dr. Cotts. I see. I'm sorry, I'm a little surprised. There's no record of sleep disturbances in your case file, Mrs. Sullivan. There wouldn't be. Dr. Cotts. All right. And now, do you have the same dreams? Mrs. Sullivan. After I got pregnant, I stopped having them in my sleep. They started happening when I was awake. Dr. Cotts. Are you saying that you were dreaming while awake? Mrs. Sullivan. Yes, but redacted. Said they were hallucinations. They got worse after the child was born. Dr. Cotts, can you describe them for me, your dreams? Mrs. Sullivan. It was the first day we came back home after the clinic stay, after the birth. Here, in fact, that I had one. Graham was in the car, trying to learn how to unhook the baby seat with the child in it. I was very tired, and I didn't want to wait. For some reason, I felt drawn to go inside. Everything was grayed, and it felt foggy. Dr. Cotts, your mind felt foggy, or you saw fog? Mrs. Sullivan. Both, but the dream I was having awake was more like mist. There were 1,000 stings across my skin when I went in. I remember how my heart raced as my eyes turned up the dark pine wood staircase. That's when I saw it. It was a face. Sitting on the top of the staircase, it was looking at me. It smiled at me when it caught my eyes. Dr. Cotts, what did it look like? Was it familiar? Mrs. Sullivan. Yes, it was familiar. I don't know where, though. I don't remember. It was very pale, and that's what made the blood around its mouth so prominent, so bright. It was up on its nose, too. Its eyes were dark black. There was no white, no iris at all. It just kept smiling. When my husband came in, I startled, turning back to him and the child. He looked at me with concern, said I looked like a ghost. When I turned back, the face was gone. Dr. Cotts, you said that it felt familiar. Was it only a feeling, or is there any inclination or memory to it? Mrs. Sullivan. It was like a dream. Familiar but not, all jumbled up of other things, overlapping, that I couldn't place. But it was very clear. I was sure it was real. But Dr. Redacted said it had to have been the start of psychosis. Dr. Cotts, the field is very underdeveloped at the moment, Mrs. Sullivan, but us psychiatrists have seen many cases with postpartum psychosis, sometimes depression, sometimes both. While it's not yet an official disorder, it is common enough that I think one day it will be. What I mean to say is, I know how to treat both, and I will help you through this. Mrs. Sullivan. That's kind of you, Dr. Cotts. Dr. Cotts. Have you had any other hallucinations since you last saw Dr. Redacted? Mrs. Sullivan. No, just the face. Lately, though, when I get up in the morning, it's been peeking out from under my bed. Dr. Cotts, what do you do when that happens? Mrs. Sullivan, I don't get out of bed. I'm too exhausted anyway. Sometimes I fall back asleep. Sometimes we just stare at each other. Dr. Cotts, I see. And your thoughts about your baby? Margaret is her name, isn't it? She goes by Maggie. Mrs. Sullivan. Mrs. Sullivan. I can't hold her. I'm afraid. Dr. Cotts. Of what? Mrs. Sullivan. That she'll get hungry. I met Mr. Sullivan that day. Special Constable Graham Sullivan was one of closest things to law enforcement Saltpine had. He was more or less second in command to the atypical officer posted to Saltpine, a most unusual circumstance. Perhaps it could have been explained if it was a winter position, since the roads are closed off for so many months of the year, and Saltpine has had its fair share of crime during those months. But the RCMP officer in question here is posted all year round. No other northern small town at the time enjoys such security. I didn't think too much about it then, but in hindsight, I should have done far more research into the town's history before coming here. Like I said before, I was naive, but Marie, if you're reading this, I need you to know that Special Constable Graham Sullivan was a good man. He did the best he could with his duties in the town and with Amy. Most of all, he was a doting father to little Maggie. Just a baby in his arms when I came out with Mrs. Sullivan to greet them. He was speaking with Sheil, who was giving the baby a quick exam to make sure she was healthy. Maggie was less than a year, and despite her mother's illness, had full round cheeks and was smiling and as happy as any baby. It broke my heart when Amy couldn't even look at her, even when Maggie's chubby fingers reached out to her. Mr. Sullivan, it's nice to meet you. I greet, holding out my hand that he balances Maggie in one arm to shake. He's handsome, was my first thought, heart thumping in that way young women get when they first meet a handsome face, kind eyes. But it was nothing more than that. All my attention went to the baby with an indescribable happiness bubbling up inside at meeting her. It's nice to meet you too, Dr. Cotts, Graham tells me in turn. Please, just Graham. And who is this pretty baby, huh? How cute are you? I remember cooing to her, hands reaching out to feel her small hands, fingers gripping at mine, before letting go just as suddenly. Her smile, noises of babbling, almost a year. She was well cared for. All her markers were there for her age. You have such a beautiful child, Mrs. Sullivan. I gently coaxed to her, watching her reaction like a hawk. What I see there is not fear, but it's not happiness either. It's nothing. Just blank, refusing to even acknowledge the baby in her husband's arms. It dug in me, twisted, still does. There's a lot of work here, I think to myself as I turn back to Dr. Sheil. All healthy, I assume? Perfectly. Dr. Sheil's smile grows, all of us latching onto the change in topic from the misstep of Amy's obvious numbness to her own baby and the uncomfortable tension it left in its wake. And Mr. Graham, how has everything been at home for the both of you? I look to husband and wife and see the stark contrast. Amy's hair is long and straight, framing her face darkly, a shadow in her eyes, dark circles like ringlets underneath. Skin pale and framed skinnier than it should be, sickly. Graham has healthy pounds on him, light brown hair in curls, beard too. His eyes shine like clear skies, skin not tan but not pale either, just a healthy tinge. He looks at his wife with love, the way he probably has always looked at her since they met, since they wed. Amy can't return the favor, but it's not her fault. Graham speaks for both of them. Amy's mother has been a great help. She's been moved in for a few months now. I nod. It was in the case notes, but I have to make sure. I'm happy to hear that you have such great support. Mrs. Sullivan, I'll see you in a few days, okay? Her eyes are a little more alive when she looks at me, smiling thinly. She says with a little more life, "Yes, Dr. Cotts." I see Graham's eyes flicker with a little surprise and then a deeper emotion, as if he hasn't heard any life in his wife's voice for so long, until now. But the moment is gone too soon. As soon as they're gone, I turn to Dr. Scheil. "Does the grocery store here carry formula for the winter?" I ask. Dr. Scheil considers me. "Yes, but it's an emergency basis. Most of the time we order enough for babies or pregnancies accounted for." Why, Dr. Cotts? "I know she still breastfeeds with a pump, but I think she should stop. I think medication might be the only option at this point, just to get her to a baseline, so we can get to some real work." I confer with him as a fellow doctor, Amy's doctor. I have permission to do this, and frankly, I'd like his perspective. What I don't tell him, though, is Amy's delusion about feeding her baby. I will ask Fred, the grocery store owner, and see if it's feasible, although Dr. Cotts' psychiatry is not my specialty. Don't baby blues go away a year after birth? Most of the time the symptoms lessen, sometimes they go away. But frankly, there's not enough research yet to know for sure. And in Mrs. Sullivan's case, her mental state is not entirely organic to the pregnancy. Added to that is the fact that it's been nearly a year already. Dr. Scheil nods. "Very well. What medication were you thinking?" "I'll have to check our stock in the pharmacy." This may seem like boring information, just routine details of a psychiatrist's thought process and treatment plan. But I need you to know that I did everything I could for Amy Sullivan. Everything within my means. Dr. Scheil and I parted after this, and it was growing late. I decided to call it a night, heading back to Eloise's in the dark, being as careful as I could be. But with all the snow, it no longer was pitch black. Instead, it had a different kind of eeriness to it. The white of the snow casted a glow that made the sky light up in gray in a light tinge, that made things look little more visible. The kind of light that made it hard to distinguish day from night, when the sun eventually will disappear for good for a few weeks. I think about back home when that started to happen for us. The earliest it got dark was about 7 or 8 at night. It was usually around this time, end of October, when kids would go out trick-or-treating, and we had to be so careful. As we got older, we could stay out longer, despite the early darkness. It hits me then, as I drive up Eloise's driveway. It's November 3rd, and I've been so buried in case notes, patient files, and sessions that I completely forgot about Halloween. It's not like I'm a die-hard fan. Usually my Halloweens were booked with Lisa setting up some horror movie marathon. She'd drag me out from my work, and we'd have fun, eating candy, watching the movie, getting food, sleeping the whole next day. But this year, no Lisa, no Halloween. In fact, I haven't seen one decoration up, and on Halloween night, the night I stayed up reading Dakota Nelson's file, not a single child was trick-or-treating. Oh dear, you're back. Let me just reheat your dinner. Eloise greets me as I walk in. She sets her knitting down, and I quickly lock the door, stepping out of my boots and jacket, leaving my bag for a moment. I follow her into the kitchen, the words burning on my tongue. Eloise? Yes, dear? I noticed that no one here seems to trick or treat or celebrate Halloween. Or maybe I was just so busy I didn't notice. I try, feeling a little nervous for some reason, uncomfortable. This unease grows when Eloise freezes and turns around slowly, dish in hand. She puts it into the oven and smiles a little tightly. Well, dear, we're not heathens. The oven light shines, then shuts off with the door. Eloise sets the timer for 10 minutes. I gulp, her eyes on me. So, no one celebrates Halloween here? You'll find out soon enough, dear, why there are much more important things to celebrate. You can never truly understand the feeling of the sun leaving for the year, or the feeling when it returns, until you experience it yourself. These are the things worth celebrating. Her smile grows even more. I see. Still confused, I let it go. When Eloise hands me my plate, though, her hands cover mine, and she keeps me there for a second, so close every wrinkle can be counted. Eyes thinner somehow, pinpointed like little needles. Her words are a little shrill, carefully carved like a knife. The spirits don't walk around us only once a year here. The darker it gets, the more they wander. It's only when the sun returns do you feel the warmth of life. And remember, you're not one of them yet. It's a most elating feeling. She lets go and I take my food, heart thundering in my chest. I'm going to eat in my room. I have a lot of case notes to look over. Her smile becomes warm, eyes full of it, large and round. Of course, dear, enjoy. It's sometime past midnight when I decide to go to bed, but I still find myself unable to drift off yet. Not completely anyway. Instead, I'm almost there, curled up on my side, facing the door, mindful of thoughts of Halloween, Eloise's words and Amy Sullivan's experiences, when I realize with a start that I forgot something, when my eyes catch underneath the closed door where a shadow moves back and forth like someone is pacing, but I can't hear anyone. The stairs didn't even creak, and the chair I usually shove under the doorknob isn't there tonight. I was so distracted that I forgot it. I can't breathe. I can't move. The shadow moves, pacing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, the glow of the lamp I left on making it so prominent. My heart pounds with the movements, palms sweaty until finally it stops, moves to the right, disappears down the stairs, I assume. I wait a few moments before I get up and shove the chair under my door again. It must have been Eloise, it must have been, but she didn't make a sound. I don't sleep that night. As Azure, Dr. Laura Cotts, Part 5.